One of my favorite rides at Disneyland is the Jungle Cruise, so when I heard that Disney came out with the Jungle Cruise adventure game, I was thrilled, and today I'm excited to share with you how to play it. One of my favorite things about the Jungle Cruise adventure game is that it takes you through the actual ride at Disney. So you get to see everything from the jumping Bengal tigers, to the African bull elephants, and of course to my favorite side, the backside of water! Yay! It's so great, you get to experience the whole thing on the board game and I love it. Even the game pieces are the little Jungle Cruise boats, so pick your favorite color and you'll be ready to set sail. To start the game, you want to get all of those boats at the starting line, and then you have a few things that you want to do to get set up. First, you want to make sure that every captain has a skipper specialty card. This is going to give them some unique skills that they can do as they play the game. If you're playing for the first time, choose them randomly, but after that, you can pick which one you want, knowing the skills that you might want to have as you play the game. Next, every captain will also want one of these boats, so in addition to your playing piece, match up the color with this cardboard boat, and this is going to be what you play most of the game on. So on this, you're going to haul passengers and cargo, and your goal is to be able to transport those passengers and cargo safely from the start all the way to the end, which is a great expedition held by the famous Alberta Falls. Every boat has 12 seats, which you can fill with passengers or with cargo. Most passengers are all worth 3 points at the end of the game, so definitely high value, but some of them are worth 5 points. I'll tell you about that in just a minute. There are 3 types of cargo cards. At the end of the game, if you have all 3, that's worth 10 points for every set of 3 that you have. If you have just a set of 2, that's worth 4 points, and then if you have any standalone, that's worth 1 point. So as you're collecting cargo throughout the game, variety is definitely going to get you more points in the end. At the beginning of the game, everybody starts with 12 passengers on their boats. But as you go, you may lose some passengers. That is definitely the risk of the Jungle Cruise. And you may also pick up some new passengers, or you may pick up some cargo along the way. So you're likely to have a nice mix of passengers and cargo as you play the game. For each of your turns, you first want to start by looking at all of the passengers and cargo on your boat. Any passengers or cargo that are in these center 3 spots are safe. You won't be able to lose them as you roll that turn. However, you may be at risk to lose some in this set of 3 on the left side, this set of 3 on the right side, or this set of 3 on the bottom. And the way that you're going to determine that risk is by starting with rolling a die. So first roll the number die, and that's going to give you the number that you should do. So in this case, I rolled a 3. I'm going to move 3 spaces on the board, but I'm also going to be at risk for 3 cards. So you want to pick up 4 navigation cards at the beginning of your turn. You can look at them and see which ones are going to be the least risky. Some of these navigation cards don't put your passengers or your cargo at risk. You can just play them and keep moving on. But some of them will have these little X's at the top. Some have 1X, some have 2X, and some have 3 X's on there. And those X's represent the number of what we call peril dice that you're going to have to roll. So on these dice, there are several sides that are blank, but then there are also some sides that have these little exclamation points, and if you roll that, that is called a peril. So depending on the number of X's on the card, that is the number of dice that you need to roll. So if I'm looking at this card, you'll notice that it has 2 X's, which means that I need to roll 2 of the peril dice. So in this case, if I roll them, one of them was blank, but one of them is a peril, so that means that I'm going to lose 1 passenger or cargo, corresponding to the red section shown in the boat in the bottom right corner. So in this case, it's going to be either a passenger or a cargo from that right set of 3 seats on my boat. Now say you have a card that has 3 X's in the top right, you may actually roll the peril dice and you may end up with 3 perils on there, which means that you would have to lose all 3 pieces within the section marked. Now if you don't have anybody in that section, it doesn't matter if you roll a peril because there's nothing to lose. For those times when you may roll lots of perils, one great feature is that every boat comes equipped with a warning flare. This warning flare allows you to re-roll the dice and see if you can get a better number. So if you get 3 perils, you probably want to use that warning flare, re-roll, and see if you can lose fewer items of your cargo or your passengers. Once you use that warning flare, you're going to flip it over and notice that it says that you can reload it at the outpost. There are a few outposts on the game board. Once you reach those, which are required stops by the way, then you can turn that warning flare back over and you'll be able to use it once more until you get to the next outpost again. So it's a great way to be able to re-roll on occasion when you have a really bad roll that could make you lose a lot of cargo or passengers. So once I finish that card, I can set it down, but again, if I rolled a 3, I have to choose 2 more of the remaining 3 cards to play those, and then I'll just repeat that process until I've played all of the navigation cards required for the number of spaces that I roll. If you have to get rid of a passenger because of your navigation cards, set those passengers off to the side of the game board. You or another player might be able to pick those passengers up. If, however, you are discarding a cargo, set that off way to the side of the game. You won't be able to reuse those anymore. Once a cargo is discarded, it's totally out of the game. One note on the navigation cards, while most of them are vertical, occasionally you do come across a horizontal card. If you find a horizontal card, you have to play it first in your set. So if you rolled a 1 and only need to play one navigation card, that is the one you play. But if you need to play multiple navigation cards, start with the horizontal ones first, and then play any remaining vertical cards that you need to. While you're looking at each navigation card, don't miss the great punny joke that is in the bottom left corner. True to Disney Jungle Cruise nature, they have great puns on every card. For example, this one says, "The gorillas have gone bananas, we better split, but keep your eyes peeled for more monkey business." So be sure not to miss those great punny jokes as you go along the way. It's again bringing that great feel of the jokes of the Jungle Cruise down to your own board game as you play and enjoy the humor all along the game. If you are on one of the white spaces, at the end of your turn you are going to pick up a tile from the Lost and Found. Now some of these tiles are cargo, which you can then put in the boat wherever you want to put them, and again at the beginning of your next turn you'll be able to rearrange them if you want, or you may also pick up a found passenger tile. If you picked up one of those, now here's where you can go to the side of the board, and if there are any passengers available, you can choose which one you want, put it in your boat. But remember that you can only have 12 passenger or cargo items in a boat at a time, so if your boat is already full, then you won't need to pick up anything from the Lost and Found. By the way, we also have tons of great party game ideas. If you want to take the Jungle Cruise into a full-blown party, we have games that you can create on your own, party decor ideas, food ideas, everything to bring the Jungle Cruise to life. For all of you party animals out there, you are definitely not going to want to miss our Jungle Cruise party ideas. So let's talk for just a minute about the various spaces that you have to stop on. One is an outpost. Those outposts start the game with all 3 parts of the cargo that you can choose from. There are also clue spaces, and if you choose to stop at one of those, then you don't actually need to go the full number that you rolled on the die. Instead, however many spaces you actually moved before stopping, that's the number of navigation cards that you need to play. All of the passengers are part of at least one family. It could be part of the Lions family, the Cruise family, the Temple family, or the Denial family. And if you don't believe me on the last one, well, you're in denial. So all 4 of these families have icons, and you'll be able to see on the passengers that they may have 1 or more icons. If they have more than 1, it means they married into the family. If they have 1, that's just the original family that they are from. So Alberta Falls has selected one of these families to be the caretaker of her property. And your goal is to get as many of those caretaker passengers to the end of the game, because they are worth 5 points, whereas all other passengers are worth 3 points. So how are you going to figure out which family is the caretaker? Well, these 4 family tiles are actually set up at different clue stations, which are noted by mailboxes throughout the board game. There are 3 mailboxes that you can put it at, and then the last one goes at the very end of the board game on Alberta's property. So you can, if you want, take a little detour from the river cruise that you are on, look at one of those tiles, don't share it with anybody else, you just want to know what this is, and then that's going to help you determine which passengers to keep on your boat and which passengers you might want to get rid of first if they aren't part of the caretaker family. So for every clue that you reveal along the way, you're going to know which family is not the caretaker. And then anybody that you have at the end who is in that family, when you turn over that final clue at the very end, if you have any passengers in that family, again, those are worth 5 points. Do you have to look at the clues as you go? Not necessarily, because they do take extra spaces. And one other type of card that is on here are these tip tokens. There are several tip tokens worth 3, 2, or 1 points. And the person who gets to the end the fastest gets to pick up whichever tip they want. So in that case, they'll get 3 extra points. And once they're in there, they don't take any more turns rolling any of the peril dice or the number dice. Instead, every time they just take another tip token. So you might find that you have a better strategy if you go the long detour and find out the family clues, or you may actually find that you want to go the shortest route, get to the end, and be able to get those tip tokens before anybody else. So that is how to use all of the different types of tiles and tokens throughout the game, and you get to choose which strategy you want. Do you go the fastest? Do you find out the clues? And how are you going to navigate all of those cards that you have on each of your turns to try and keep the most passengers or cargo along the way. So that is how to play the Jungle Cruise adventure game. If you found this helpful, please give us a thumbs up. It'll also help YouTube know to recommend more of our videos to you in the future. I'll also put a link in the description to more of our how-to games for some of our favorite board games. And also don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can check out all of the fun videos that we do in the future to help bring family memories and laughter to your family through everyday play. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!